Who are you?
My name is Dr. Matthew Brackney. I'm a chiropractor here in Houston, Texas with spine and sports therapy.
Now you're here to give us some advice today on how to prevent outbreaks, or if we do get infected, what some steps that we can take to help fight this virus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's so much fear right now surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, and rightfully so. It's clearly very contagious. I think a lot of the fear stems from this concept that there's no treatment, there's no vaccine for it, and I'd like to just provide more people with just some basic, good, solid nutritional advice that they can take advantage of that is shown in scientific evidence to, one, prevent viruses from replicating inside the body, and then two, just support overall body resiliency if we do have an infection. My overall message is there are things that you can do to support your body right now.
What are you shopping for today?
Just regular home cooking stuff. Some fruits, pasta, some milk, water.
Yeah.
Just regular stuff.
Okay. Is there anything in the store that you wish they had, or?
Yeah, so there's no rice, so I was actually looking more for rice.
Did you notice anything in the HEB that was different or off, or are there any items that they might be out of?
I know that my grandmother, she came and there was a lot of milk missing and a lot of the really essential things.
For some reason, viruses tend to carry more fear, and I think a big reason for that is, if you get a bacterial infection, you can very easily, quickly treat it with antibiotics. Antibiotics have been around for a very long time. They've proven to be successful in a wide variety of bacterial infections. But viruses, there has never been a good, clear-cut treatment, therapy, drug for viruses.
What's a virus out there that that we've seen in the past?
And there's been several, just as recently as a couple years ago, the Zika virus in 2016, 2017. That was a virus that, again, has been around for a while, but there was a new outbreak before that. There was the swine flu, H1N1, in 2011.
And that was a virus?
That was a virus, right. The SARS, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, that was in 2003. That was a type of coronavirus, this same family of viruses.
What are some ways that a regular person at home can take care of themselves and their immune system?
Just to give a little bit of information on how viruses work, they work a little bit differently than bacteria. So bacteria will come in and they'll just start replicating on their own, and they create little toxins that hurt your body, and they try to eat our own food, and they cause damage that way. Viruses work a little bit differently. They actually have to go into our cells. So viruses come in and they'll go into your cells to use your cells' machinery to replicate themselves. They can't replicate on their own. So they have to go inside of your own cells, and then they start to reproduce themselves.
Essentially what they do is they just hijack what your body uses.
That's why viruses are a little bit harder to treat than, say, bacteria. There are antiviral medications. Obviously, there's vaccines for several different types of viruses. I'm not suggesting not use those things. I'm suggesting there are things that we can do on our own now to help support our body's own immune system and also make our body more resilient if we do get infected with really any virus.
Is there anything that you're doing to help your health out or anything of that sort?
So we've pretty much been quarantined, so no soccer, no going out. This is the only thing I've been out for a few days now.
Yeah.
In terms of health, trying to walk, trying to do some exercise when I can, but we're really stuck at home.
What are some micronutrients we can take to combat the coronavirus?
Yeah, so just in general, there are 4 main nutrients that I recommend. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is very important for inflammation in general, and it's also very important for guiding the immune system and its different activities. So vitamin D is very important. Vitamin A is also really important. It helps prevent entry into cells. So like I mentioned a minute ago, viruses have to get into your cells to then replicate. Well, vitamin A can help prevent them from getting into your cells. Zinc and selenium, those are the other 2 that I recommend. Both of those have evidence for preventing viruses from being able to replicate. Now this one, this COVID-19, is again from that same family, but it's mutated, it's different. It's the same reason we have to get a different flu vaccine every single year. It's because the flu viruses they mutate and they change. What I'm suggesting is support your body's immune system and its functions so that it's well able to handle any type of infection, regardless of if it mutates or not.
Okay, so tell us a little more about the actual coronavirus itself.
The coronavirus, like you mentioned, corona is Latin for crown. So there are different little particles on the virus that make it look like it has a crown. So that's why it's called that. It's a relatively common virus in general. I read one epidemiological study that stated that it accounts for about 15 to 20% of just the common cold. But those ones that I mentioned earlier are notable ones to mention. The SARS, the MERS, and then now this one, the COVID-19.
There's going to be a citywide lockdown after tonight. Will you continue to be open after today?
We intend to remain open as long as it's safe for ourselves and the customers.
For the lockdown, buying some extra stuff, usually just for me, but I have to stock up. That part was unexpected.
What's some good advice you could offer for this lockdown?
Getting good sleep, 7 to 8 hours. 6 to 8 hours. We should really be striving to get good sleep. Very important for our immune system. Exercise. We should also try to get some exercise, and we should be careful about how much we go out into big public arenas. You can still exercise in your house. You can exercise maybe in your backyard. But getting physical activity is also, one, good for your immune system. It's also just good for your mood and your mental health. You're staying away from high sugar. So added sugar, things with added sugar in them, and then just high carbohydrate loads. And also stress. As sort of ironically, this is all a very stressful situation, but stress suppresses your immune system.
Oh, wow.
So the more stressed you are, the more cortisol is floating around our bloodstream, and that actually depresses our immune system. So those are just general things, but I think that's prudent advice.
Dr. Brackney, thank you so much.
Awesome, thanks.